Hello, today's video is going to be on the angles formed by parallel lines and transversals. This is what we talked about in our last video about those special relationships. What we're adding in today is this idea about what if the lines were parallel. Yesterday we just had a transversal cutting through any two lines, and we had alternate interior. We had, as we see here, corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side exterior. All of those angle relationships are formed anytime you have a transversal cutting through two or more lines. But this special situation, when we have parallel lines, is going to create these special relationships. If two lines are cut by a transversal, parallel lines cut by transversal, corresponding angles are going to be congruent to each other. If the lines are not parallel, the angles are not congruent. If we have two parallel lines and the angles formed are alternate interior angles, those angles are going to be congruent as well. If the lines aren't parallel, alternate interior angles exist, they're just not congruent. Alternate exterior angles are going to be congruent if the lines are parallel. If the lines are not parallel, the special relationship does not exist. Same side interior angles are going to be supplementary. And remember, supplementary means that they add up to 180 degrees. Same side exterior are supplementary. So again, as we said yesterday, if you have a transversal cutting through two lines, you have these relationships corresponding alternate interior, exterior, same side interior, exterior. Those relationships exist. But if the lines happen to be parallel, now the angles have all of these special relationships. If the lines aren't parallel, they're not congruent, they're not supplementary. They're still corresponding, they're just not congruent corresponding angles. So we're going to use this to solve for x and y and then find the measure of our angle. I'm going to first look at the two equations that have x's. Why would I want to mix x's and y's and make things more difficult? So I see that this angle and this angle have x's in it. I first think about what is the name of the relationship between those two angles. They're both on the same side of the transversal, but they're not corresponding because 8x and 1 and 3y and 65, those are in the same spot. They're both on the same side and they are exterior. These are same side exterior angles. Now we're told in the directions that line A and B are parallel to each other. So because line A is parallel to line B, this new special relationship that we talked about just now is going to exist. And that special relationship is the fact that same side exterior angles are supplementary. So I can take these two angles of 8x plus 1 plus 6x minus 17 and set it equal to 180. We combine our like terms. 8 and 6 gives us 14x. 1 and negative 17 gives us a negative 16. We add that 16 over. 14x is equal to 196. We divide by 14. And we find that our x is going to be equal to 14. Now let's look at the y's. I have 7y plus 1, 3y plus 65. These two angles are alternate interior angles. Again, because I have that my two lines are parallel, alternate interior angles are going to be congruent to each other. If they're congruent to each other, they have the same measure. So I would set 3y plus 65 equal to 7y plus 1. Equal angles, same relationship. Set them equal. We move our 3y over. We've got 65 is equal to 4y plus 1. We move our 1 over. We get 64. We divide by 4, and we find that our y value is going to be equal to 16. So we use two different relationships. Remember, step 1 is to identify what relationship you're looking at. You have all of these different options. Corresponding alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, same side exterior. Once you've identified which relationship it is, if the lines are parallel, you can either set them equal to each other or add them up and set them equal to 180 to find those missing values. The last thing we have to do here is to find the measure of angle 1. So here's angle 1 right here. You can do anything that you want, basically. You can plug in x, you can plug in y. I'm going to plug in x. I'm going to review the fact that these two angles right here are vertical angles. They are across from each other. And we know from previous unit that vertical angles are always going to be congruent. So I have 6 times x minus 17. These two angles have to be the same. I have x is 14, so I do 6 times 14 minus 17. I find that this is 67 degrees. Since these are vertical angles, angle 1 has to be 67 degrees as well. All right, and that is going to be it for this video.